Iran is currently going through a situation that might, dare I say, need more attention, because it involves women's rights, it involves a tyrannical government, it involves killing of their own people. Oh wait, I might be describing America if anyone's listening carefully. Hey yo. Nani? Dynamite! Dynamite! Y'all deserve each other. Y'all, since y'all both hate sushi so much, y'all deserve each other. Clap it up. Hey, how y'all doing? My name's Shiro. This is the Identity Booth. Do me a favor, hit the share button on this. You don't got to really do much else. You don't have to like this. You don't have to comment on it. Just hit the share button. I'm trying something new. Don't judge me. Judge yourself. Clap it. Y'all know I'm a pacifist, right? And by pacifist, I mean, like, I ain't out here trying to kill nobody. Like, if I don't gotta slap you for approaching me in public, I think I could make it a long time without ever just, getting into trouble with people. But, like, I'm a pacifist. So when I heard that the U.S. military is facing its biggest recruiting hurdles in 50 years, I just thought that was something to celebrate. How is this bad news? Less people fighting to kill people is great news. Why would this be bad? But it's America. And our imperialistic way of life devolves if we can't dominate people. We have so many people in the military that the New York Police Department is considered to be the third biggest military. It's not even a military. But that's the situation to come. And while this article was interesting to hear them talk about how this basically is a boomer article talking about how this generation is too soft and too this. But I really want to say this generation is probably just traumatized, right? If you are 21 years of age or older, and if you're at least 21, if you're 21 years and older, you basically have been alive your whole life and never gone a single day without the America being engaged in war. Like, you've been in repeated wars. You've heard of repeated talking points. And if you're my age, you definitely remember hearing the propaganda that drove us into these wars. So for me, it's not that hard for me to just denounce it as just all meaningless. I think we live in a day and age where we definitely should be able to solve most of our problems. But let's talk about some things that are actually of concern. There is an obesity challenge. Creating a uniquely challenging environment for recruits are several factors, including declining veteran presence across society and uninformed messaging by non-military organizations, unduly highlight the risk of military service. Miller explained in her prepared testimony. Pentagon data shows 77% of the youth 16 to 24 years of age aren't qualified for the military without waivers. 44% such youth are ineligible for service for the multiple reasons, most prevalent being overweight, according to Miller. Now, this is kind of interesting because by technicality, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm definitely in better shape than most people I know. But on top of that, even at my peak, at my prime, if you want to call it that, of me being an NFL athlete, I would have still been deemed not capable of being in the Army. Like, we use the old adage for BMI, which if you're medical personnel, you know that the old version of the BMI test is inherently racist, as it's predominantly used to measure a white male when the health care of hundreds of people need to be put into population configuration for that. So I'm curious to know, and they didn't mention it in this, how are they scaling this obesity? How are they judging this obesity? What is the information behind it? What's the governing size behind it? None of these things came into play. So it's very convenient for them to blame obesity without also acknowledging that, hey, maybe if we didn't, make places food deserts and let companies monopolize grocery stores, like that, I feel if we didn't have a situation where, food isn't deemed a necessity, or like we had situations like that where our food is processed to shit and everything's just making people bigger, then maybe we wouldn't have this issue. But it's very convenient to blame the people instead of blaming the systems that gave us the ability to propagate. Majority of youth, 52%, have never considered the military in any option. Why would they? Gen Z, ineligible aside, Gen Z also isn't interested in serving in the military, in large part because of the misconception about what it means. Miller added, for the first time, the majority of the youth, 52%, have never considered being in the military. Oh, yeah, it was crazy. But Army is in dire straits. A big reason why the Army is struggling, and this article doesn't talk about it, but it's because of the new restraints that have been put to stop the worst type of people getting into military, white supremacists. There was even a testimony that was said by a congressman. If there was a mission statement to eliminate or eradicate white supremacy in the military ranks, and it was just to get an idea of what type of racism was within their ranks. And this commission was voted down by the Republican Party, and I verbatim, basically their reasoning for this is, if we deny these people access to the military, we would cease to have a military. So our military that we send into these black and brown countries to bring them democracy is full of xenophobia. And it's no wonder why they attract so many people who have bigoted views on things. It's not a surprise for us. But what is the response? Like, the American Army has to think of a way. So they tried playing video games. This shit didn't work. They tried, putting recruiters in high schools. That shit didn't work. So what they gonna do? When the military spends $100 million on advertisements each year just to get ratioed by a 21-year-old girl with a TikTok. And there's been an onslaught of this. It's kind of funny to me that, this is sort of the thing that is getting a lot more attention. This girl has 1.1 million views on this. And she basically, her whole identity is being in the military and being able to just say little stuff like, do this. It's the promise of what, right? What is this to promise? Like, what does this have to do anything? Oh, you could become YouTube famous or TikTok famous. Also, being TikTok famous, you're basically still broke. TikTok is the equivalent of getting paid minimum wage on social media. But, this is one way for the military to garner support by posting stuff like this. But it makes me wonder why they can't post things about their active accomplishments. Like, we have a lot of money wrapped up in Ukraine right now, but Iran is currently going through a situation that might, dare I say, need more attention, because it involves women's rights, it involves a tyrannical government, it involves killing of their own people. Oh wait, I might be describing America if anyone's listening carefully. Hey yo. But there is a reason why I brought this up, and the only reason why I actually brought this up is because in South Korea stands to lose $1 billion from the K-pop superstar BTS due military service. So this is BTS, and from what I understand, BTS has a rabid fan base, and apparently they are being forced to go to the military. I guess they have to do a military stint. I don't expect these people to be on the front line, and I also don't think Korea's in a major war except for just holding North Korea at bay. But basically, they're going to be going to. They've all agreed to go do their military service. I think from the ages of 25 to 30, which is kind of like crazy. 5 years of service. That's super crazy. And the country stands to lose a lot of money because they're not going to be doing tours or anything like that. I feel like they should have gotten a fucking thing to like bypass it, but also this is how you do it, right? You can't tell me that a bunch of people aren't going to try and join the military to be associated with them. It's sort of that Elvis effect, right? When Elvis went to the army, he never saw any action. He was just up there gyrating and singing for his people, but he never saw the battlefield. But it did boost enrollment. And, you know, while I think stuff like this, if they're truly going to do it because they want to, I think that's great. But in these one-off situations like this that really don't garner this level of, like, admiration, I want to see people like do better. I want to see people get better, right? There's no way in 2020 we should be doing this still. Like recruiting people to go to war. Is that what we're doing right now? Huh? Like that's what we're doing now? Like we're recruiting people to...
I beg your pardon?
That can't be real life.
I beg your pardon?
Basically, Research Institute of BTS contributed $3.6 billion to South Korea's economy every year, equivalent to the contribution of 26 mid-sized companies. Hyundai Research also said the boy band brought one of 13 tourists to visit South Korea. If I was ever going to go to South Korea, it would be to probably see that band, honestly. And it's because Keisha dragged me over there. But yeah. We got a lot of conflicts in Africa right now, even a major genocide. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Like, and somebody asked me this the other day. Hey, Hero, why aren't you covering the Ukraine thing anymore? Like when it first happened, you covered it a lot. And I was like, oh, because most of the Ukrainian soldiers are like carrying patches of like for Nazi symbols. And the way they treated all the black people in the beginning where they were forcing them to stay behind, yeah, that shit kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, so why would I don't think I don't think the Ukrainian people would be kind to like a boat full of Nigerian immigrants looking for refuge. I don't think they would be kind to those people. So I don't choose to cover it. It's weird. But that's where we at right now with that shit.